We are the Witchcraft. We are the oldest organization in the world. When man was born, we were. We sang the first cradle song. We healed the first wound. We confronted the first terror. We were the guardians against the darkness, the helpers on the left-hand side. Those are, of course, the words of the famous "We Are the Witchcraft" from Jack Parsons, a part of Freedom is a Two-Edged Sword. And Jack and I, we have something in common. We're not witches. So everything I'm about to say here may not apply. I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim to be practicing witchcraft. There's other people out there who will probably tell you better than me. And I think that's very important to point out. Because I'm coming after you, the paranormal investigators, the ones out there who will make a documentary and then they're going to whip out a witch to give their documentary authenticity. Here's an expert on witchcraft. Well, guess what? There's no witch pope. There's no head of witchcraft. There's very few witchcraft experts. So slow your roll a bit. You need to qualify that. And if you're saying to me, do I really need to say that this is only my opinion every time I say something? Yes, you do. Yes, you fucking do, especially when it comes to this topic, because there's so many different outlooks out there. There's so many different ways to approach it. You can't just haul out someone and say that they're an expert on witchcraft. And I'm not even going to start talking about the witch craze, literal witch hunting that some of these people do. It's just disgusting. So that being said, we still need a way to recognize it, right? Like, what is witchcraft? And personally, to me, it's one of those things where if you say that you're a witch, poof, you're a witch. You get to declare that yourself. No one else gets to judge you on that. One thing you can say is that it is a folk tradition. It comes from the folks. It's not from priests. It's not from political leaders. It comes from the general population. And when people are complaining about New Age and crystals and all that stuff, well, hey, that's just the new folk magic. That's what it is. Maybe it's witchcraft. Maybe it isn't. That's up for you to decide. All I know is that, Cruella the Coven Mistress, she doesn't have authority, okay? Maybe she has authority over her own coven. That's fine. Personally, I would question anyone who would accept that kind of authority, but you do you. You may be asking yourself, is witchcraft a religion, or is witchcraft just a form of magic? Well, that's a really complicated question, and I'm going to point out once again that even the folks who study comparative religion don't have a definition for what a religion is. So, once again, it's up to you. There are folks out there who believe that it is a religion and that the magic part is optional. There are folks out there who believe, well, it's just a magical craft. You do it the way you do it. Modern Western witchcraft generally breaks down into two camps: neo-pagan witchcraft and what's been called traditional witchcraft. Neither one is better or more correct than the other. There are even Christian witches out there. And I know some of you feel that's a contradiction in terms, but it's not, because all through history there have been those who follow the craft and are also a part of the dominant religion of the culture. That's just the way it is. And there's plenty of folks out there who blend neo-pagan witchcraft and traditional witchcraft, which is fine. In fact, Peter Gray, founder of Scarlet Imprint, did this speech called Fly on the Wings of the Storm, which is great, and there's a link for it down below, in which he talks about this. And he says that Paul Houston, one of the early modern proponents of traditional witchcraft, and Gerald Gardner, the often cited founder of neo-pagan witchcraft, both got their material from the same place, the Folklore Community Library at the University College of London. So maybe these are just two sides of the same coin. In fact, Gray, who is also more magician than witch, probably gives a better definition of witchcraft than Jack does, at least a more succinct one, when he says, "You will find a witch at the end of a pointed finger." Because witches have always been the other, the outcasts, the persecuted. They are not polite members of society. So if you're going into witchcraft thinking this is going to be like happy rituals in the park every Sunday and that sort of thing, I think you should look into more than that. That's my advice. And that's the reason why I don't call myself a witch. Because I don't think that an old white dude living in the suburbs is really the other or the outcast. I am the privileged. It's others out there who should be embracing witchcraft. An alternate term I really like for witches is cunning folk. The folks who knew the plant lore. The folks who knew how to heal and also to poison. The ones who were cunning enough to avoid the boot of authority. Maybe the ones who every once in a while would sneak off at night to a blasted heath somewhere and have a dance with the devil. It's a good time, I guarantee it. Before you go, remember that we've got incense back in stock at the Scarlet Ibis Apothecary store. That's on our Ko-Fi page. And the next temple talk is going to be about Aleister Crowley. And that's going to be a subscriber-only sort of thing. And I think you're going to hate it. So you'll have to subscribe to find out. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Add your name to the Scroll of Thoth by joining our Ko-Fi fundraising campaign. Ko-Fi subscribers will receive access to the extensive archive of Scroll of Thoth podcasts, access to our private Discord server, special extended cuts of our videos, a 10% discount in our store on all Scarlet Ibis Apothecary items, bonus videos and other content, and a free 3-card tarot reading every month for those who subscribe for $10 or more. Help me create more videos on the occult and the spiritual history of ancient Egypt. Discover a magic that goes beyond the repeated platitudes of Victorian-era dilettantes and look into the true heart of the Western esoteric tradition.